Welcome to this explainer. We're diving straight into the invisible molecular mechanics that govern, well, literally everything, from deflating birthday balloons to the incredibly complex world of nuclear energy. Right now, all around you, there's this chaotic, invisible world of trillions of molecules just bouncing off each other at hundreds of miles per hour. We don't see it, obviously, but we experience its effects constantly. So today, we are decoding the hidden rules of how things move, how they spread through the air, and why some of these invisible particles are essentially built for speed, while others just kind of lumber along.
Section 1. The Great Gas Race, Ammonia versus Perfume. Okay, let's kick things off by imagining a high-stakes race right across your living room. Picture this. You open a bottle of really sharp-smelling ammonia at one end of the room, and at that exact same moment, someone else opens a bottle of heavy, sweet-smelling perfume at the complete opposite end. Now, what happens next? Well, if you're standing smack dab in the middle of the room waiting, that sharp, unmistakable smell of ammonia almost always hits your nose first. It wins the race across the room, leaving those perfume molecules totally in the dust. But why? This really simple, everyday observation sparks a completely fascinating scientific mystery. I mean, both liquids turned into a gas, right? And both are spreading through the exact same air in the exact same room. So why on earth does one gas travel and spread through space so much faster than another?
Section 2. Defining Graham's Law, Naming the Phenomenon.
So, here is the formal scientific explanation behind our winning gas. Graham's Law of Diffusion states that the rate of diffusion or effusion of a gas is inversely proportional to the square root of its molar mass. Okay, I know. At first glance, that math terminology sounds incredibly dense. But let's break it down. It's actually pretty straightforward. Diffusion is really just a fancy word for gases spreading out across a room. And effusion, that's just when a gas escapes through a tiny hole. Now, don't let that whole inversely proportional to the square root thing intimidate you. When we strip away all the heavy jargon, the actual definition at its absolute core simply dictates that lighter gases diffuse faster than heavier ones. That is the golden rule we're working with here. Think of it like a foot race between a super nimble, lightweight sprinter and a heavily armored knight. Naturally, the lighter you are, the faster you're going to spread out and move across a given space.
Section 3. The Energy Balancing Act, Mass versus Speed.
So the really crucial point here is how energy actually works at a microscopic level to make this whole phenomenon happen. Step 1. At any given temperature, all gas molecules carry the exact same average kinetic energy. Temperature is basically the great equalizer here. If the room is, say, 70 degrees, both the ammonia and the perfume have the exact same amount of thermal energy driving them forward. Step 2. That specific energy budget has to be shared unequally between two things: the mass of the molecule and its speed. You just can't have maximum mass and maximum speed on a fixed energy budget. And that leads us right into step 3. Because of that shared budget, a molecule with a high mass absolutely requires a low speed, while a molecule with a low mass requires a high speed just to balance the equation. Think of a tiny sports car and a massive semi-truck driving down the highway. For both of them to have the exact same forward kinetic energy, that tiny sports car has to be absolutely flying, while the massive semi-truck can just slowly roll along. To put it simply, since all the molecules in that room share the same average kinetic energy, the lighter molecules just naturally have to travel much faster to carry the same amount of energy as the heavier, slower ones. The ammonia molecules are lighter, so they're zipping around at top speed just to keep up with the energy budget of those heavy perfume molecules lumbering along behind them.
Section 4. Crunching the numbers, the proof.
Let's put this to the test and pit oxygen gas against hydrogen gas, kind of like a molecular heavyweight boxing matchup. When you compare the two, oxygen has a molar mass that is roughly 16 times greater than the much lighter, nimbler hydrogen gas. Hydrogen actually has a remarkably low molar mass. It's literally one of the absolute lightest substances in the universe. Oxygen, by comparison, is incredibly heavy. So, how does that exact 16-fold weight difference translate into a theoretical foot race between these two gases? I mean, we know hydrogen's going to win because it's lighter, but by exactly how much?
This brings us brilliantly back to our core equation, and the magic number here, 4. Remember our definition? The rate of diffusion is inversely proportional to the square root of the molar mass. Not the mass itself, mind you, but the square root of it. So, the square root of that 16-fold mass difference works out to exactly 4. And this isn't just some random estimation. It's a direct, calculable result of Graham's law. It calculates definitively that hydrogen diffuses exactly 4 times faster than oxygen. If you release both of them at the exact same time, hydrogen is crossing the finish line while oxygen has only finished a quarter of the track. It's just this incredibly precise, beautiful mathematical balance between mass and velocity.
Section 5. From Balloons to Uranium, Real-World Impact.
Okay, let's scale this up from living rooms and math equations and look at the actual real-world impact of these tiny molecular races. Because Graham's law isn't just textbook theory, it's happening all around us, constantly and at wildly different scales. On a totally everyday level, it explains incredibly mundane annoyances. You know how a shiny foil balloon loses its buoyancy and sags to the floor super quickly after a birthday party? Well, that's because the light helium gas inside literally leaks or effuses out of the microscopic pores in the balloon material much faster than the heavier ambient air from the outside can leak in to replace it. Basically, the helium wins the race to escape. Now, on the completely opposite end of the spectrum, on a massive industrial scale, this exact same law is applied to the incredibly delicate process of uranium enrichment. In this highly complex setup, the slightly different diffusion rates of gaseous uranium isotopes are exploited. See, natural uranium contains a mix of isotopes, but only one specific, slightly lighter isotope is actually useful for nuclear power. Because that crucial isotope is just a tiny, microscopic bit lighter than the others, it diffuses just a fraction faster. By forcing the gas through thousands and thousands of porous barriers in a massive cascade, scientists use that tiny speed difference to gradually separate them and collect the lighter, faster fuel. So, from backyard birthday parties to producing nuclear energy, it is all exactly the same invisible molecular race.
And with that beautifully simple concept, we've actually reached an incredible milestone today. By perfectly filling this final gap, all 20 chapters of our chemistry source material are now genuinely complete. We've explored the fundamental rules that govern the very fabric of the physical matter surrounding us. But as we wrap up this explainer on Graham's law and molecular motion, I really want to leave you with this to ponder. If something as simple and invisible as the microscopic weight of a molecule can dictate whether a child's balloon floats or how modern nuclear fuel is successfully processed, what other invisible, everyday mysteries are unfolding all around you right now, just waiting to be solved with a little bit of kinetic energy?